Most men are taught to believe that women only chase the guys they're already interested in. That's a lie. A woman can go from being lukewarm about you to suddenly craving your attention if you know how to trigger the right instincts in her. Attraction isn't logical, it's emotional. And when you learn how to spark that emotional drive, you can flip the script in a way most men never even realize is possible. Here's the truth. Women don't chase men because of looks, money, or even charm alone. They chase men who shift the power dynamic. A woman wants to feel like she has to earn you. She wants to feel like you're slightly out of reach. And that's where most men get it wrong. They spend too much time proving themselves to her instead of creating the space where she naturally starts proving herself to them. This isn't about playing childish games or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about understanding female psychology at a deeper level, because when a woman feels that mix of curiosity, uncertainty, and challenge, you immediately stand out. She can't ignore you, even if at first she thought you were just average in her eyes. Think about it. The guys women complain about the most are usually the ones they can't stop thinking about. Why? Because those men know how to pull back at the right time, hold their frame, and never act desperate for attention. Meanwhile, the nice guys who constantly chase and overgive never get anywhere. It feels unfair, but that's how attraction really works. Welcome to the channel, where I break down dating and relationship dynamics in a way men rarely hear. In today's video, we're diving deep into how to make any woman instantly chase you, even if she isn't showing much interest right now. I'll show you the psychology behind it, the behaviors that flip her attraction switch, and the mindset that separates men who get chased from men who get ignored. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why chasing women never works, and how to reverse the game so she starts chasing you. 1. The power of pulling away. Why less attention creates more desire. If there's one thing men underestimate when it comes to attraction, it's the power of pulling away. Most men believe that if they just give a woman enough attention, shower her with compliments, and stay available at all times, eventually she'll realize how much he cares and give him a chance. But here's the truth. Women will never tell you directly. The more you give without her having to earn it, the less she values it. That's not because women are cruel. It's because of human psychology. What's freely available is rarely desired. What's slightly out of reach becomes irresistible. When you pull away, whether that means not texting back instantly, not always being the first to initiate, or simply prioritizing your own life over constantly chasing her, you create space. And in that space, attraction has room to grow. You give her something most men don't: uncertainty. She starts to wonder, why isn't he chasing me like the others? Why does he seem so calm, so detached, so in control of himself? That question is the seed of curiosity, and curiosity is the fuel of desire. Think of it this way: if you're always right there, always available, she doesn't have to think about you. You're predictable. Predictability equals boredom. But when you pull back just enough, when you show her you're not desperate for her attention, suddenly you become unpredictable. She starts checking her phone more often. She starts noticing the silence when you don't reach out. And here's the twist. The silence speaks louder than words. Now, pulling away doesn't mean ghosting her, ignoring her for weeks, or playing childish games. That's not attractive. That's immature. What it really means is living in a way that shows you value your own time more than chasing validation from her. It's about showing her, without words, that your life is full, your world is already exciting, and she has to earn her place in it. 2. Mystery and unpredictability, the silent triggers of female curiosity. One of the most powerful psychological triggers in attraction is mystery. If a woman feels like she has you completely figured out, her interest begins to fade. Why? Because women are naturally drawn to puzzles, challenges, and the unknown. Curiosity keeps her mind engaged. And once her mind is engaged, her emotions follow. Most men make the mistake of laying all their cards on the table too quickly. They tell her everything about themselves within the first few conversations. They constantly explain their feelings, and they remove any uncertainty about how they see her. While that might feel honest and straightforward, it kills attraction. A woman doesn't want a man who is an open book she can read in one sitting. She wants a novel she can't put down. She wants layers she has to uncover over time. Now, this doesn't mean you should lie or play games. It means you should let her discover you instead of handing yourself over all at once. When you're not always predictable, when she can't anticipate your every move, her brain stays engaged. She starts asking herself, "What's he thinking? Why didn't he text back right away? Why does he seem so relaxed when most guys would be chasing me?" Those questions build tension, and tension is what fuels attraction. Unpredictability also makes your attention more valuable. If she knows you'll text her every morning without fail, she'll start to take it for granted. But if sometimes you text, sometimes you don't, sometimes you're available, sometimes you're not, she begins to lean in. She starts craving your attention because it's no longer guaranteed. Think of it like this. Women don't fantasize about men they fully control. They fantasize about men they can't quite pin down. That's the guy who stays in her thoughts. That's the guy she tells her friends about, wondering why he's different. 3. The psychology of absence. Why less is always more. One of the most counterintuitive truths about attraction is this. Women often feel the strongest pull toward a man when he isn't around. It sounds strange, but absence creates a psychological vacuum that forces her mind to fill in the blanks with thoughts of you. And the more she thinks about you, the more she feels about you. Here's the mistake most men make. They confuse presence with value. They think, if I'm always around, always available, always texting her, she'll know I care, and she'll feel secure. But what actually happens is the opposite. She stops noticing you. When you're constantly in her space, her brain has no reason to long for you. She doesn't have the chance to miss you because you've never given her that space. Absence works because it leverages two powerful psychological forces, scarcity and imagination. Scarcity makes her realize your presence is not something she can take for granted. If you're not always there, she naturally begins to appreciate the moments you are. Imagination kicks in when you're not around. Instead of scrolling through another text from you, she's left wondering what you're doing, who you're with, and why you're not chasing her like other men do. That wondering stirs emotional intensity. Think about it. How many times have you seen a woman lose interest in the guy who smothers her, but stay fixated on the one who seems slightly out of reach? That's not an accident. It's psychology. The man who knows when to pull back and let her feel the absence is the one who maintains her attention. But let's be clear. Absence isn't about ghosting, disappearing, or being immature. It's about balance. It's about not overexposing yourself to the point that she stops valuing your time and presence. For example, if you've been seeing her regularly, take a weekend to yourself and let her notice the silence. If you've been texting back and forth non-stop, slow it down and let her feel the gap. Those small shifts create the longing that keeps attraction alive. This is also where self-control comes in. Many men panic when they sense a woman pulling away, and their instinct is to double down on contact. But that only accelerates her detachment. Instead, the right move is often to give her space, not because you're playing games, but because you understand how attraction really works. The beauty of absence is that it turns your presence into an event. If you're always there, you're background noise. 4. Silence as a powerful tool. Most men underestimate silence. They see it as weakness, as doing nothing, as a void that needs to be filled with words, texts, or effort. But here's the truth. Silence is one of the most powerful tools you have when it comes to attraction and influence with women. Used correctly, it speaks louder than anything you could ever say. Let me explain. When you go silent, a woman doesn't just hear nothing. She feels it. She notices the absence of your voice, your messages, your presence. Silence forces her to sit with her own thoughts. And here's the catch. Women are emotional creatures who naturally overthink. When you're silent, she begins replaying past conversations, analyzing your behavior, and questioning where she stands with you. That internal questioning creates emotional tension, and emotional tension is what fuels attraction. Now contrast this with the man who never stops talking, never stops texting, and never gives her a break. He makes himself predictable, and predictability kills excitement. She knows she can have his attention whenever she wants it. There's no mystery, no curiosity, no space for her imagination to run wild. Silence, on the other hand, introduces uncertainty, and uncertainty makes her invest more thought and energy into you. But here's the key. Silence must be intentional, not careless. It's not about ignoring her just to get a reaction or playing childish games. It's about understanding timing. For example, if she pulls back, instead of chasing harder, you hold back. If she tests you with attitude or indifference, instead of arguing or proving yourself, you let silence carry the weight. This flips the dynamic because it shows you are not desperate for her validation. Think of silence as a mirror. When you withhold your words or attention, it reflects her own behavior back to her. If she values you, she'll feel the void and move closer. If she doesn't, then your silence simply exposes the truth and saves you time. Either way, you win. 5. The fear of replacement. Here's something most men don't realize. One of the deepest triggers in a woman's psychology is the fear of being replaced. When a woman feels like she's the only one in your world, she can take that for granted. But the moment she senses that your world won't collapse without her, that you could move on, that you have options, her entire behavior changes. Why? Because women are competitive by nature, especially when it comes to love and attention. Even if she doesn't want a serious relationship with you, the idea of another woman taking her place can stir emotions she didn't even know she had. It sparks jealousy, curiosity, and most importantly, urgency. She starts asking herself, what if he really doesn't need me? What if another woman gets what I overlooked? That fear alone can pull her closer than any sweet words or desperate gestures ever could. Now let me make this clear. This doesn't mean you should play cheap games, constantly flaunting other women to make her jealous. That looks insecure and transparent. What I'm talking about is a subtle shift in energy. The kind of energy that says, I'm not bound to you. I'm a man who has value, and I can attract what I want. When you communicate, without words, that your life doesn't revolve around her, she feels it. Maybe it's how you carry yourself. How you remain calm when she pulls away, how you don't beg when she acts cold, or how you invest in yourself instead of obsessing over her. That's when the fear of replacement kicks in. Think about it this way. If a man is constantly available, she knows he has no alternatives. But when he's selective with his time, focused on his own life and not chasing, she starts wondering, is there someone else he's giving his energy to? That uncertainty alone makes her fight harder for your attention. Here's where most men go wrong. They try to convince a woman not to leave, not to lose interest, not to walk away. But that's backward. The more you try to secure her, the less secure she feels about you. A woman wants to earn your attention. She wants to know that keeping you is a privilege. And she can only feel that way if she believes you're not afraid to let her go. The fear of replacement doesn't always have to be about other women either. Sometimes it's about your purpose. 6. The power of mystery. One of the most underrated tools a man has in attraction is mystery. And I'll be honest with you, most men ruin this without even realizing it. They meet a woman, get excited, and then unload their entire life story, every thought, every feeling, every plan. They think openness equals connection. But in reality, overexposure kills intrigue. Women are naturally curious creatures. We're drawn to what we don't fully understand. That's why mystery is so powerful. It leaves room for her imagination to fill in the blanks. And when her imagination is working, she invests more of her own emotions into figuring you out. That's what makes her feel drawn to you without even knowing why. Think about it. If a woman knows everything about you in the first few weeks, what's left for her to discover? Nothing. The mystery is gone, and so is the excitement. But if she feels like you're layered, like there's more to you than what you've revealed, she leans in. She starts asking more questions. She wonders what you're thinking when you go silent. She tries to interpret your actions. That's attraction at work. Now, mystery doesn't mean being secretive or manipulative. It doesn't mean playing games. It means you don't over-explain yourself. You don't rush to justify every decision. You don't give away everything about who you are, what you want, or how you feel too quickly. Instead, you reveal yourself slowly, piece by piece, with intention. That pacing keeps her hooked. Here's an example. If she asks what you're doing Friday night and you say, "I've got plans," instead of a full breakdown of where, with who, and why, you've already sparked curiosity. She starts wondering, who's he going with? What's he doing? That curiosity makes her think about you more than she realizes. 7. The chase dynamic, how to maintain her pursuit long term. Here's the reality about women. Getting her to chase you once is powerful, but if you want her to keep chasing, you have to understand the chase dynamic. This isn't about manipulation, games, or being fake. It's about creating the kind of dynamic that makes her feel like winning you over is an ongoing process. And trust me, women love the thrill of pursuing a man who doesn't just hand himself over completely. Most men make the mistake of thinking once they've got her, the job is done. They stop being mysterious, they stop maintaining their edge, and they get lazy. What happens? She stops chasing. She feels like she's figured you out, and the excitement fades. Women don't lose interest because you aren't good enough. They lose interest because the dynamic that made them chase in the first place disappears. To maintain her pursuit, you have to keep a balance between closeness and distance. Give her moments of warmth, intimacy, and attention. But also pull back just enough to remind her she doesn't fully own you. That's what keeps her on her toes. A woman will never fully respect or desire a man she feels she has complete control over. She needs to feel a little uncertainty, not insecurity, but the sense that she's lucky to have your attention and that she could lose it if she stops bringing value. You also need to keep growing. The man she chases isn't just the guy who gave her butterflies in the beginning. He's the man who continues to evolve, achieve, and challenge her. If you stay the same while she grows, she'll outpace her attraction for you. But if you keep improving, deepening your purpose, and living like a man who doesn't revolve around her, she'll keep chasing because she sees you as rare and valuable. Remember this. Women never stop testing men, and those tests aren't to annoy you. They're to confirm you're still the man worth chasing. If you pass them by staying calm, unaffected, and grounded, she'll stay hooked. If you fail by overreacting or trying too hard, she'll slowly lose respect. The chase never really ends. Not if you understand how to keep the fire alive. Make her work for your attention, keep her guessing, and most importantly, stay true to the man you were before she entered your life. That's how you maintain her pursuit, not just for weeks or months, but for years. If you've made it this far, here's the truth you need to remember. Women don't fall hardest for the man who gives them everything up front. They fall for the man who makes them chase. Attraction isn't built when things are too easy. It's built when a woman feels like she has to earn you, when she sees that your attention is valuable, and when she realizes that you won't just hand yourself over without effort. Throughout this breakdown, we've uncovered something most men overlook: the power of scarcity, the importance of self-control, and the way a woman's mind works when she doesn't feel like she has you completely. It's not about being distant or cold. It's about being balanced, about knowing your worth, and about making sure she sees that worth too. When you master this, you stop being the guy who chases endlessly, hoping for scraps of her attention. You become the man she invests in, the man she tries to win, the man she fears losing. That's where the true dynamic shifts, and suddenly you're no longer questioning her interest. She's questioning yours. So remember, keep your edge, keep evolving, and never forget that the chase doesn't end once she's yours. The men who hold on to attraction long term are the ones who understand that women don't want a man they can completely control. They want a man they have to keep earning. That's how you become unforgettable. That's how you win.